Hello, my friends. It has been a long time for this because, oh man, there's a lot going on, and boy, I haven't I haven't felt the need to do a lot about what's been going on. But I'm your friendly neighborhood Tenkaichi, and this is the Tenkai Talk. Now, I've been thinking pretty deeply about what this episode entails. And it entails a lot of things. So, I'm just going to lay it down right here, right now, on what it's going to be. Where we stand right here now as a community of sorts. The virtual state of affairs, as it were. About so many things that is going on and what are we doing about it. For one, let's talk about the platform that most of us are namely on, are where mainly it's kind of like the source of income to some, and to others probably a stepping stone to something much larger than that. And that's YouTube. Now, as we know, YouTube, now owned by Google, has been showing lots of changes. And most of these changes are somewhere between good and not so good, and possibly faring somewhere in between the two. Now, there are people that don't care about their views or how many subs they get. I'm one of the very few people who does and does not care. In this case, I care a great deal about the people that show up to my channel. And not so much of the views because, hey, things have changed over the years. And since I can say that YouTube has really changed my life for the better, since becoming a Let's Player, it does make me speak more. Because normally, before that, I never used to talk. I never used to talk so much to people. But now that I've grown into this persona I've become, it just basically stands out as, well, this is what I do on my channel. I play video games, I do reviews, and to that, I get some kind of appreciation for doing such. Now, some of it is basically just not there. I rarely get comments about the games I do. And if I do, they're like they go into backlog like real quick. I rarely get anything now as to what I'm doing recently, and maybe I might get one or two, maybe three, but I don't get them every day or every week or every month for that matter. And because I've also have partnership, this is one thing that pretty much scares the shit out of people when you mix YouTube and partnership. You see, I've been a long-time member of YouTube. And I've been around for about, say, Since 2006. 2006, and is now going into 2018. So that's about 11, 12 years. And for most of my channel that I've done, I made it into a gaming channel. Well, actually, not a gaming channel, it's a variety channel. Because it's not just games. You know, I showcase 80% being games, 20% being other stuff. Reviews, reality projects, and I think that's about it. Reviews and reality projects. Because you do see me on camera, and I'm just showing you my end of the world. So therefore, to me, it's a reality project. Aside from that, well, that's one thing that, you know, I care about. Because, you know, the people that show up on my channel, they want to find something, whether they speak in a different language. I do my best to translate to the best of my ability using Google Translate, and just telling them, oh hey, yeah, we have that. Just look it up on my channel. You like it, subscribe. That's all that matters. Now, also, what I do on my channel is I also sell my book, but of course, it's totally optional if you want to buy said book. It is my first book, so therefore, I'm just basically trying to get it out in the market. That's all I'm doing. So therefore, I have merchandise. Might not be the best kind of merchandise, but it is merchandise nonetheless, and I'm trying to make a little profit on the side. But that's to my benefit. Okay? Now back to what I originally mentioned about partnership. Now, most people, when they think partnership, they usually think that there are certain people who just suddenly change at the drop of a hat just because of partnership. And I tell you that that's not always the case. Now take me for example. I haven't changed since I got partnership. Because I basically talked to the people that wanted me aboard said partnership. And all they said was, well, we're not going to change your style. So we just want you aboard because you seem interesting. So that gives me the option to monetize. So yeah, I monetize just to get myself a little something. And it, again, to my benefit. I mean, if it gives me a little something, I'm grateful for it. You know, it basically is like I get a little something for it. It's not big, but it does bring in something. It does bring in some kind of credit to my name. But that's all it is. It's just, you know, a little something for me personally. It brings, you know, a little reputation, positive reputation, mind you, but not negative. Now, all others, the very well-known YouTubers, I'm not well-known, so therefore, you know, even if that is the case, I'm not that well-known to be like, oh, say, I have over 100-something million subs or something like that. Yeah, right, sure. I mean, I'd be satisfied if I get more than 1,000. Because at this point in time, what I'm working on is like, I'm still working on projects. So therefore, it's like, for that, it's like, oh, if I hadn't said so, thank you for supporting me over the years. Truly, I can only make the the work that I do worth something. But, you know, you keep the interest alive. That makes me continue doing what I like to do. So that's all there is to it. Now, monetization is a problem these days because of the algorithms. You're not getting the proper views that most people are getting. And I can say that is a problem, but at the same time, what more can you do about it? I mean, I've heard so many complaints about that. And I know one person in particular complains about this. Complains about monetizing. Complains he's not getting enough views on Twitch, not enough views on YouTube. You're not getting noticed in any case. You're basically just saying that I'm not getting noticed in any case. Well, you know what? Join the club. I've been on YouTube just as long, but I've never complained about it. It was never a big thing to me. Because I felt what I'm doing is I'm preserving video game history. That's why I can say on my channel I am doing it. I am preserving video game history because as long as you guys bring in titles that I never heard of, that means you're giving back to the community by just sharing what you feel I should try out on the channel because, hey, I'm not the only one putting in the work. You guys are also putting in the work because you're giving me something to work with. So therefore, you're giving me work for the channel. And I mean, the thing about monetization now is that there are certain videos that get limited to no ads. And yeah, it may be a nasty thing to some, but come on now. Should that be like the only thing? Should that be the only thing you have to worry about? Should you have to try to readjust yourself in order to get more views? I mean, I'm not going to adjust myself just because of that problem, because it really is something out, you know, just something that does not pertain to us. Even though it does pertain to us, it does not pertain to us personally. I mean, I'm putting up Sam & Max and Chrono Trigger and other games on my channel. And hell, before, for other games, shoot, Backlog, I got basically copyright issues because of the music alone. And it's silly because I own no part of the music. And what's funny about it is with certain video games, the music is the most interesting part. It makes the video game even more playable because you're listening to music. You're listening to what most composers have put together and say, here, this is for this game, enjoy for what it's worth, or not, because you got a volume control, and if you want to turn it down, you can. And you can do it, but it leaves something less to the player and even more to their audience. Because we as gamers, we have to basically ride on what we have. We have to have music. We have to have gameplay. We have to do this. We have to even more so the commentary. Now sometimes our commentary isn't the best because sometimes we might have off days, and that's okay. It's alright to have an off day because we're all human. I mean, we're nothing special. We're just doing the best we can. And that's mostly what the problem is. To an extent, we are not satisfied for what we do. We always have to push ourselves a little more because we want what others want. We want to be noticed. We want to get recognition. We want a little more than just that. But the truth of the matter is, we're going into the second part of this video. The economy. Our economy is so messed up that even big businesses like Google and YouTube suffer from it. Because the internet is a very large place. And we're whining and complaining about YouTube. And going to move over to Vimeo and whatever kind of other places that pretty much we would have to do the same thing, and then we forget, oh, how many pages do you have on your channel? Think about it, nice and long. You got about over, say, maybe 5,000 videos, and you want to move them over to another site in the off chance that it doesn't work on YouTube. Do you realize how long that would actually take you to do? Just to basically rip a video rip your own video off a site, and then basically drag it through a lot of folders. That would take about, say, days to about months. And therefore, again, it's all about that. It all goes back to the self-esteem about our own videos. I post daily, and if I don't post daily, I post at least 4 days a week on a Let's Play, and 3 days a week with miscellaneous stuff. Because this would be considered miscellaneous, what I'm doing right now. This be considered miscellaneous. But it is something that needs to be said, because we live in a world where we're trying to make all ends meet. And I know. There are some people who want to be full-time YouTubers. I have no problem with that. The thing is, you have to be prepared for, say, you have to be prepared for things like this. Like if you're getting low views on a video, or say, you're not getting enough comments. You're not getting enough subscribers. I'll say this. If you're going to be full-time on YouTube, you have to be prepared. That means you cannot bitch, you cannot whine, you cannot complain about the shit that happens on YouTube. And yes, I said it, shit. Because that's what it is. We live in a shitty ass country. Now, I hate to break it to you, but that's what it really is. That's what it really comes down to. We live in a shitty ass country in which we have little to no respect about ourselves. And compared to what we do on a daily basis. There are some of you out there that have 9-to-5 jobs. You work, say, 5 times a week, or 6 times a week, or maybe sometimes even 7. You might work from Sunday to Saturday. You have a 9-to-5 job, or maybe you don't. Maybe you just work Monday through Friday. Now, whatever you do at your job, you do it to the best of your ability. But yet, if things don't go right because you feel you should get more, and you talk to your boss about it, and he or she says no, deal with it. Because it is not their fault. It's the way the economy is set up in this day and age. We have a messed up economy. We also have a man who does nothing but these days just whine and complain about really nothing. Yes, I am talking about he who shall not be named because we already know who he is. Now that's another issue that I would like to pose on this video. Now yes, it might be nasty, it might be harsh, but it's the truth. For a man to say, let's make our country great again, how? This one man has said, let's make our country great again. We're not doing it. Because A, we should have been doing that. We should have not just made our country great, but kept our country great. We had time. We had more than enough time. We went through the highs and lows with different presidents over the years. And there have been many different situations in which he had to act because of the situation and what that entails. You're taking the oath of leadership. You have to make certain things. And if the people is not going to be with you, well then that's tough because most people are fickle. Even now in this age, people are especially fickle. Oh, especially about the flag. Oh yes, let's talk about that. I've checked on my Facebook sometimes, and there are people who says I'm not going to salute the flag. I'm going to kneel with Pumpernickel. Yeah, I'm going to call him that. I'm going to kneel with Pumpernickel. And again, I state this. I've said this once, and I'm going to say this right here on camera. Personal feelings should not be dealt with your job. You're a football player. Your job is to play the game. And whatever the coach says goes. That means if you have to stand for the anthem, stand for the anthem. You mean to tell me that for all these years that we have been doing the Pledge of Allegiance, now you want to say, oh, we should not do the Pledge of Allegiance because of this so-called racial injustice? Let me tell you what racial injustice is. Racial injustice has been around since the 60s. That's as far as my mind will go. Possibly even farther than that. Let me tell you about racial injustice. If you were born during like say where the Waltons and Little House on the Prairie was, if you were born around the Great Depression, oh man, I feel for you. I feel for you. I really do. But namely, I don't know anybody who actually grew up during the Great Depression. If you have been born during the crime age of Al Capone and the Untouchables, man, I really do feel for you because those were some killer times. Seriously. Okay, let's move up a bit. You live in the 40s. During World War. I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2, but I think it was World War II. World War II. My mom was born in 1942. April 5th, 1942. She's grown up. She grew up through all that stuff. She grew up through the war age, through racial oppression, because she grew up around Louisiana. She grew up in Louisiana, and she made it through every single period of time. She's 75. Mind you, that lady has been through a lot. She has not once complained about any bit of what she went through during those 7 decades. And we got assholes. Yes, I'm saying it outright. We got assholes who basically get more than they should, and they're disrespecting their own country. Now, you don't like the country, step the fuck out. Seriously, step the fuck out. You do not like the USA, step the fuck on out. Because first off, you're delivering a terrible message to anyone younger than, say, 5 years old. You're delivering a terrible message that, hey, you're supposed to do this instead of you know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do no. See, back in the day, during my age of the 80s, this is personally our generation right here. Our generation is the 80s. So, you know, everyone who knows when they grew up around, say, the 80s and 90s, that's our generation right there. Through the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. 3 decades. During the 80s, well, I can pretty much say I grew up during the 80s because I was born in 1979. 1979, I grew up during an age of disco. But I was a baby by then. So having a fro, that came in during the 80s. So since then, you know, I got rid of that. But the thing about the 80s was, when we grew up as kids and we were watching cartoons and they had a moral of the story, that's basically it. We listened to the moral of the story. We took it to heart. And basically, it made us into better people when we took what they were showing us throughout each cartoon that was being shown back in the day to heart. That was through G.I. Joe, He-Man, Silverhawks, a Sailor Moon, Sonic the Hedgehog, you name it, it was there. Just about every single show during the 80s and 90s, you basically had some kind of moral. And they just broke it down for you. Now, I could pretty much say that our generation probably was the best generation there ever was. Because, technically, we stayed on the path we believed in. We never strayed away from that path, and we knew what we were doing growing up. Now we're in this generation which, I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, truly, I really don't know what the hell's going on. Because this generation is too selfish for its own good. And we, of a previous generation, should be so much better than that. We should be the one teaching the young bloods out there, this is how you do this. this is how you do this. This is how you do this. You take them to the side. You point them out for step by step. This is how you do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If you're going to do this, do it like this. A, B, C, D, F, G. And if they don't know about what we grew up with, train them. Teach them. Give them a little piece, and I do mean a little piece of what we went through. A little appreciation. Because what this generation do not have is appreciation. They do not have appreciation for what we went through back then. Because you're talking about racial injustice. Okay, guess what? You go through high school, guess what? You're not facing through racial injustice. No. You're basically going through something even worse. You're going through peer pressure. You're going through a lot of things. You're going through basically anything that falls under peer pressure, like drugs, sex, alcohol, all that stuff. You're going through all that. You have never went through what we went through during those times. Around the 90s and the early 2000s. This generation has never went through that. And I'm not talking about our generation. I'm talking about this new generation. This new generation does not know what we went through. And you're probably wondering, what does this entail with YouTube? Well, that's what I mean. Going back to this, we're whining and complaining about our own videos. Oh, I think I'm going to delete this because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I saw no problem. Why are you that insecure? Seriously, are you that insecure that you do not believe that you gave your best on your videos? What'd you expect? An S? An A? I mean, you know, we went through all that stuff. You know, they changed up the ranking system from, you know, stars to like thumbs up, thumbs down. And basically that's just Roger, you know, that's Siskel and Ebert. You had thumbs up and thumbs down. You're just basically going through basically what we went through in the 80s. You know, thumbs up or thumbs down. You didn't like it because of this and this and this. You liked it because it was this and this and this. This generation does not know about why the thumbs up and the thumbs down. We should have a better appreciation about ourselves. Because, as I said before, our country is so messed up that even we can see it, but even we are too stupid to know what to do about it. It's not because we don't know what to do about it. It's just what we have to deal with. And then there's so many other people that just want to use new age ways of thinking against old age of belief. And I can tell you, I grew up around cartoons. I grew up around anime. I grew up knowing that the good guys always win and the bad guys always lose. I grew up knowing you have to believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, how is anybody going to believe in you? I believe as growing up into a hero of sorts. I can kind of say that I am in that role because I've done things to help my community in the best way I could, and now I'm bringing that help back to my own family. That should say something. That even means what I do during this time, this means something too. Because actually, in reality, whether I believe it or not, this message is going to reach out to maybe more people than I can imagine. Because there are going to be people that might react to it a certain way. They might act to it positively, or they might act negatively. But personally, positive or negative, I've said my piece, and that's what matters. I didn't get it off my chest. I'm saying my piece. If I got it off my chest, that means I'm mad about it. So I'm not mad about this. I'm actually telling it like it is. We need to just become better people. And the only way we can become better people is to realize that we can only do our best and we can only deliver our best. Numbers, it's like this: views, subs, what we get in our own bank accounts, and whatnot. That should not be a matter when we're playing, when we're doing let's plays, when we're doing reviews, when we're covering certain events and whatnot. That should not be an issue. And even if that is the case, and we're off camera and we're in a group chat, that should not be an issue. I mean, I get so sick and tired of hearing about how many reviews I'm going through, and I'm like, I can say this: I'm going through a lot of backlog because I got a backlog. I got a huge backlog of games I need to go through because most of them are unfinished, and because life has been so hectic, I haven't been able to finish them because the way I do my games are I just basically do them when I get the time to do them. And I might do 2, I might do 3, I might do 4 parts. Hell, I might even do 5 parts if I'm up to it. But that is the case of me doing what I need to do for my channel. Because, truth be told, what I'm doing is for the benefit of my viewers out there, my audience, my friends, my family, those who listen to the sound of my voice. It is what it is. Because truly, I feel we need to do better. I honestly do. We need to stop trying to think that what we do is not enough. We don't need to spread ourselves out so far as to say, well, I'm going to do this for, like Patreon. We don't need to spread. We don't need to spread. Even if you feel like you need to spread, you're doing too much. You have to do this set of videos for, this set of people, and this set of videos for this set of people. I mean, I never got into Patreon because I felt when you do Patreon, you're basically saying, this is not for you guys. This is for the other people. These are for the special people. We should not treat our audience that way. We should not divide them. That's what I honestly feel. We should not divide our audience into 2 different groups. Because I feel, each and every one of these subs that I've gained, I've earned them. I feel I've earned them because I'm showing some kind of quality entertainment. It may not be I may not deliver the best commentary, nor do I would deliver the best gameplay videos you would ever see. I'm not even about that. I'm really about showing off games that we haven't even seen in a long time in our own neck of the woods, or games we just never thought really existed. That's all I'm doing. I'm doing them as Let's Plays. Even I'm getting titles that I never even heard of through my email. And people are offering me to play them. they're offering me codes to let them play, to, let them play them. I even go through, my Facebook, check to see what kind of requests I might get, or even Discord, just because. Oh, and of course Skype. I have 3 different ways of checking requests. So therefore, I try to do the following: mush them all together, and just say, you know what? In one day, I'm going to do, say, 10 videos of not reviews, but requests of random games. Another day I might want to do reviews. Another day I want to do let's plays. But I just have it out systematically. That's how I work. And that's just saying I'm doing my part on my channel. And I can say, whether I get 1 view, 2 views, hell, even 10,000, I don't really care. I'm satisfied with what I'm doing. And most of us who are on YouTube, and we're in the gamer community. We're in the Let's Player gamer community. We need to stop worrying about things like numbers, views, whether we're liked or not. If we get people on our side, we've earned every right to get that person. We've earned every bit of that support we can get. Because we shouldn't worry about the biggies out there. Because we're only as big as we think we are. I can say, personally, I can say this, I'm bigger than them. I'm bigger than all those YouTubers out there that have hundreds and millions and thousands of subscribers out there. I'm not insecure about myself. And if I am insecure about myself, I keep it to myself, or I just share with it to my friends and my family. But the reason why I got a lot of support behind me is because of that. Because I have people that know that I got that voice that can say, you know what? You know you're good. Do you want me to kick you in the ass to let you know how good you are? Just think about that. I mean, I'm quote unquote the leader of a ragtag party. And most of them, I don't know. It's like some are insecure about themselves, while others aren't. And to those who feel insecure, please stop. You're more precious than you think you are. You're more talented than you think you are. You just don't even realize that you are that talented, that you could push that potential out. You just need to do the same thing that I've been told before. Get out of the comfort zone. I know one person in particular has told me that I need to get out of my comfort zone. And I've done plenty of games that basically have taken me out of that comfort zone. And let's just say my comfort zone is basically during the night. This is my comfort zone. When I'm in my room, and whether I record something or not record something, it is my comfort zone. From 8 to 5, it is my comfort zone. Until we get up to 11 a.m., I gotta deal with reality. 11 to 5, that's when I deal with reality. 5 to 8, downtime. 8 to 5, that's 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning. That's my work hours. Whatever it is I do on here, whether it's making books or doing video games, playing video games, covering anime series, movies, and whatnot. It is what it is. But the most important thing that I am just bringing to the table is that for those who don't feel that they're not worth watching, ask yourself this. What is your channel for? What is the reason for you doing what you do on your YouTube channel? Do you want to just basically become a better person from doing your videos? And don't just say you're doing this because everybody else is doing it. Don't just say you want to be the next Markiplier or the next PewDiePie or whatever. And as a matter of fact, why would you want to be them anyway? Why would you want to be the next worst thing in social media? Period. Why would you want to be the worst thing in social media when you could become the best thing in social media? You could become the best in anything you want to be, as long as you believe in yourself for it. Because let me tell you something. You can only do what you can do, and you can only deliver the best that you can from it. And for what it is worth, for whatever it is worth, however you do it, and no matter how you do it, no regrets. Do not regret what you do on your channel. And in an extension, your line of work. Don't give up on what you do. And whatever it is, if you don't like it, you can try to change it. But at the end of the day, don't feel terrible about what you've done. But admit to believing that everything's going to be okay. Because in the end, everything will be okay. The only thing is, you worry about it, it's going to stress you out. And you shouldn't stress yourself out over something that cannot be fixed. Upon human ability. Because for what it's worth, you can only do so much what you can. On and offline. Please, guys, remember that. I'm glad we had this talk. I'm glad to actually mention this because I'm pretty sure that there are people out there who probably need this message. And this message has to be shared because, like I said, we don't show enough of our true potential. We really don't. And we really do need to show much more of that potential to the rest who don't know what's going on out there. You want to become the best there is, and the best there was, and the best that there ever will be. That's the aim in life. Always aim for the ace, but never the joker. Okay? So that's it. I have been your friendly neighborhood Tenkaichi, and this was the Tenkai Talk. Stay tuned for more great video content, and I shall see you soon with more of the usual. So with that, I am the Tenkaichi. I have spoken. And with that, Senpai's blessings upon you all. Have a great, wonderful, and blessed weekend. And I'll see you next time with more great content. Until then, the Tenkaichi is out. And Tenkai Muso!